if I can ask people to take their seats. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar and maybe some unfamiliar faces. I'm Sanne Harhuis. I'm the Secretary of the Ballooning Commission, International Ballooning Commission. And I'm very happy to have everybody here to celebrate this year's induction of the Hall of Fame in the museum. I would like everybody to stand for our FAI anthem. Thank you so much. You can all be seated. This is one of my favorite moments. This anthem plays at all of our meetings, but the one that plays here is so special that it's kind of one of my dreams to get this recorded at some point so we can play this version at our meetings. Right now I have a few words from our President Claude Weber.
Good afternoon. My name is Claude Weber, and I'm the new president of the FAI Ballooning Commission. First of all, let me warmly welcome you to this Hall of Fame ceremony. It is always a special moment to celebrate the people who have shaped our sport and left a lasting legacy. I'm very sorry that I cannot be with you today, but even from a distance, I want to express my deep respect and my congratulations to those who are being honored today. The Hall of Fame is not only about achievements, it is also about passion, commitment, and the inspiration that these individuals give to all of us. I wish you a wonderful ceremony, rich in memories and inspiration. And I want to express my appreciation to the Balloon Museum for keeping the history of our sport alive and for giving these stories a home. Enjoy this special occasion.
Yeah, like Claude just expressed, the Hall of Fame is a very close collaboration between the CIA Ballooning Commission and the Balloon Museum. And we very much appreciate that cooperation that we have together. Every year we choose our inductees that are going to be in the Hall of Fame from then on, with a commission that is a combined commission of people from the CIA and people from the Ballooning Commission, who together go over records and files, and whoever we think at this moment is the person to be raised into the Hall of Fame. The CIA is a group of volunteers. We come from all over the world. These are people that dedicate their time, their life. They come to these events, they come to plenary meetings. And I would like to recognize the people that are here today that are either a present or a past active member of our community. I see Troy in the back. I see Andy Baird, Mark Sullivan. I don't know if Jacques here. I see Lynn, who is on our committee from the Hall of Fame committee from the Ballooning Commission. I think this volunteerism keeps our sport alive and really makes this a very special occasion. It's not about money, it's about inspiration, it's about passion. Hard to read. Also really a very, very special thanks to the Ballooning Commission. Claude brought it up a little bit earlier. I think it's very special that we have a physical space where our heroes are commemorated. These people have made a difference to our sport, and I think this ceremony and this physical space in the museum really gives these people the place where they belong. And Lynn, I would like to give a special thanks to you for working on these exhibits year over year, for making sure that people are being found, being recognized, and for finding the right words to put these people in the right spot. Also a great thank you to Nan from the museum, and I would like to invite her up here, Nan Maasland, the Balloon Museum Director, and Susan Connor, the Balloon Museum Foundation Executive Director.
Good evening and welcome to the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum. It is our pleasure to be here with you this evening. We've arranged for all of the wind to happen right now before Balloon Fiesta starts, so thanks for being in the spirit with us. The CIA International Balloon and Airship Hall of Fame was founded in 1994, and the first Hall of Fame induction ceremony was held a year later in 1995 and was originally located in the Sokup and Thomas Balloon Museum, and later here at the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, where we host both the event and the exhibition inside. This year marks the 30-year anniversary of the Balloon and Airship Hall of Fame and the 20-year anniversary of our museum. So how auspicious that both of them are happening at the same time.
So the first Hall of Fame event was held in 1995 with 12 inductees. And two of those are the namesakes of this museum, Ben Abruzzo and Maxie Anderson. The Balloon Museum Foundation's mission is to uplift the museum through fundraising, cultivating relationships, and promoting community involvement. The foundation is proud to support the Hall of Fame ceremony and celebrate the inductees this year.
It is my honor to introduce someone who loves balloons as much as all of us and has chased them around since he was just a kid. He spends most of the next 9 days out here with all of you. Please welcome our mayor, City of Albuquerque Mayor, Tim Keller.
Well, good afternoon, and I know this wind, it's kind of pins and needles when we have wind like this. We all know that it's part of ballooning, but if you look at that horizon and that sky and the field ready for flight tomorrow, it's just an awesome sight, I think, for our city and for anyone who's been involved in Balloon Fiesta. And before I touch on the Hall of Fame, I do just want to recognize, when you run for this job, former mayors will tell you, you better love the Balloon Fiesta, because it's actually a big part of being mayor. It is by far and away the largest event you do every year, of course, with the International Balloon Fiesta. But for me, that was an easy yes. But I do want to acknowledge another great steward of Balloon Fiesta. R.J. Berry is here with us, former Mayor Berry. Give him a round of applause. And when I was growing up, I always looked up to a certain politician because they were also a really good athlete. And I am definitely not the athlete, probably, or politician they are. But we're joined by Governor Gary Johnson also. Governor, thank you so much for being here. In high school, I raced him once at Santa Fe Ski Area at the little racetrack. and he crushed me. And I'm sure still could. But that is a little bit of a segue to our award winners, actually. You know, people who make it to the Balloon Hall of Fame, they are instrumental in a lot of ways in our lives. And number one is, in their own right, often they are also athletes, especially the case with Richard. But also, they are explorers, they are pioneers. They are the sky, you know, either hot air or gas version of predecessors that now we think of as sailing ships across the seas, or exploring areas that were unexplored before. And I think sometimes at Balloon Fiesta, you know, we take all of this for granted, at least on the civilian side. So as a kid growing up here, chasing those balloons on my bicycle, or just now with my kids, the smiles and the joy of Balloon Fiesta, we often forget that there were pioneers that had to make this possible. Whether it was internationally over in Europe or in Sweden, is the case with Hans, or right here at home. And we know our legendary Anderson and Abruzzo families and the other founding families of the Balloon Fiesta. But it's not something that, you know, you don't want to spend all this time reflecting on the history of Balloon Fiesta when your kids are all excited to see the Darth Vader balloon. But I will tell you that I do. And that's also why we have this museum. It is to remind folks, especially now as a lot of us are getting older and some folks are passing on, and of course, some not with us. This is something that is a gift from those pioneers, from certainly Hans and Richard. That is something we get to enjoy 9 days a year. Some folks every day of the year if you're in professional ballooning. But it's something that we are grateful for. And whether it's directly or indirectly, we owe a debt of gratitude to all the Hall of Fame members. And that's also why I'm so grateful we have that right here in Albuquerque, so we can always remember and honor that past. Now, we're going to hear all about the honorees today. And of course, Hans, I know, is going to, we have different video and so forth, but Hans Åkerstedt, of course, a Swedish Air Force pilot. And decades of service, 40 years of shaping ballooning. Over on the European side, multiple award winner and first-time world champion, highly decorated, and clearly someone who should be in that Hall of Fame. Now, for us here locally, it's hard not to tell endless stories about the Abruzzo family. And we're here to honor Richard especially. But I have to share one story just about the family. You know, I got a giant white stuffed animal, a big polar bear, when I was 8 years old. And when you're 8 years old, you don't know who anyone is, but you have names that like float in your head. And I named that bear Ben Abruzzo, after Richard's dad and Ben's dad. And my mom still has a picture and still has the bear. So every Balloon Fiesta, she's like, here's your bear, Ben Abruzzo. It's all very embarrassing. But to me, it is also incredible that I get to in some way honor this family that somehow was in my head as an 8-year-old kid. And of course, today we honor Richard. And there's many stories about Richard, including skiing. He was an excellent skier, but also 2-time key grab winner, which, by the way, you know, I was trying to look up the history of the key grab, but that is a whole thing in and of itself. And so just on the fun front, I love that part of his history. But of course, more importantly, is all the records that he broke of his dad's, most importantly. And so for us, it makes, in fact, I'm surprised it even took this long, but obviously Richard has a place in this Hall of Fame, and we're glad to honor him here today. So with that, I want to say congratulations to Hans and Richard and to their families, and of course right here with us, the Abruzzo family. I do want to acknowledge too, just locally, that the Abruzzo family continues to give. Whether it's helping our lodgers tax board and do tourism and marketing, or it's the amazing tram program that we have and everything that they even help with canine units. This is an APD. So I just also appreciate that the Abruzzo family's commitment to New Mexico and to Albuquerque through thick and thin has never wavered. And so we're grateful to have them also still here contributing through multiple generations in Albuquerque. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to our MCs and so forth, but congratulations. We wish the best for flying in the next 9 days, and God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you. moving on, I had this thought about what is a hero. And I went back to my first CIA meeting, where I was welcomed by people from all over the world. These were, for me, just ordinary people with whom I would be in meetings, I would go for dinner, I would have a drink at the bar, they would be chatting with me. There was nothing special about these people. Other than that, they were welcoming me with so much love and appreciation. And it wasn't until I was on the committee for a few years that I started to realize, man, I am amongst people that have achieved some badass things. I wrote extraordinary, but badass came in my mind. You know, there's people that have set multiple world records. There's people that have served on this committee for longer than I have lived. They have won major competitions. Yet none of these people were bragging about it or boasting about it. They were people. Humble, ready to help, ready to be part of the community and make me feel part of this community. And then I started to think, like, maybe what makes us as balloonists different is that we have all seen the world from above. And maybe that makes us so down to earth. Down to earth people don't see themselves as heroes. But it made me think that maybe they are. So the definition of a hero. A hero is a person admired for great or brave acts or exceptional qualities. They're a model for others. It's an individual who's idealized for possessing superior qualities, serving as an example for others to follow. They're a selfless individual, a person who performs acts for the common good, prioritizing others over their own well-being. And I think that today we acknowledge two people who have contributed and left their mark in the community by their deeds and legacy, and who did that, in my opinion, by the criteria of being a hero. So if we then go to our first inductee, Hans, a very normal, smart, and funny man. Someone to share a drink with at the bar, and who will share many stories. And someone who so selflessly gave so much of himself and his life to his passion and to our sport. It's unfortunate that neither Hans nor his family can be here today, but I would like to ask Mark Sullivan, who served on the CIA Commission for over 25 years with him, to receive the medal in his name. Also, the family, please come, Mark. The family has sent some photos that I will share while Mark is doing his speech.
There you are. Congratulations. Oh, I need that.
Officially.
There you go. We need to do a photo op, and then
Thank you, Sana. Oh, that's not good. It's quite the honor to be able to accept this award on behalf of Hans Åkerstedt. Hans and I served together on the FAI Ballooning Commission for 25 years, and 20 of those years we served on the Bureau as officers together, so we became pretty good friends. It was especially nice for me as my last year as the president of the FAI Ballooning Commission and the chairman of the Hall of Fame committee to see two of my good friends get inducted to the Hall of Fame, which is Hans Åkerstedt and Richard Abruzzo. So that's always nice when you see that happen. Right, Nancy? Just a couple things about Hans that was really special. Hans was an engineer, he's a numbers guy, and he liked to do things for the CIA you'd never think was important, but once he got done with it, it was quite important. He spent, I don't know how much time, going back through records all the way to when the CIA was formed in the early 60s, and compiled the list of every person that was in the CIA and their capacity, how long they had been there, and it's just an incredible spreadsheet of accomplishments that went back forever. And not only that, at the same time, he compiled the list of every notable flight from the Gordon Bennett to every flight you can imagine, all the way from 1906, and put a book together. It's actually a large book of all these flights. So these are just a couple of the things that Hans put together for the CIA. Another thing that Hans did that is important to competitive ballooning is his work on formulas and competition. And Hans, you got to realize the United States is one country and Europe's about 30. So and we have a large proportion of the best pilots in the world in the United States. So to get our pilots into the World Championships took a lot of finagling. And Hans was supportive of a formula that the U.S. introduced that would ensure top competitors got into the Worlds by selecting countries who did the best in the previous Worlds. Now, I know that sounds complicated, but it was a major thing that he supported, and he just had a good heart. So that was one of the things that endeared Hans to all the competitive pilots. Hans was also on the Hall of Fame committee all these years, and when you're sitting on the committee, you're not going to get this award. So when I was chairman, I had to remove Hans to get him this award. So that's I wish we had done it a few years earlier, but he liked these awards. So Hans was a really special guy. Oh God, I have some great pictures. I don't know what you're seeing, but if I'd show you some, he'd do the funniest things when he'd go to the bars. But so I think that's about all I have to say with Hans, and I am so proud for his family to get this. He is very well deserving, and thank all of you for coming.
Thank you, Mark, for these kind words. Hans was definitely a remarkable man. So I was talking about people that I didn't know and that I met. I have never met Richard while he was alive. My first introduction was actually a very sad one. I don't know if anybody of you knows the Gordon Bennett and how you can follow the Gordon Bennett on your phone. In 2010, this was like starting up technology. We're just getting to it. And we're like checking these dots that are moving on a map. And these to me are just dots. They didn't really mean anything. But then when things starting to get like a little bit more tense, you start to look up like, oh, who is this dot? And you can go like behind the scenes. You can see, oh, it's Richard Abruzzo and Carol Reimer Davis. What are they doing? Where are they going? This is all very exciting news. Oh, what's happening here? So here we are in the beginning of that Gordon Bennett following and enthusiasm around the world. And we are on our way to the World Championships in Hungary. And I remember that the dots stopped moving. And at that moment, Richard Abruzzo became a name and became someone to remember. He was no longer unfamiliar to me. I would like to show a video that the family has sent, and after that I'll invite people up to receive the award. One more?
I feel like it's a very inspirational thing to see someone like push themselves to the absolute max and be so competitive and so passionate about something to really like put your life on the line to succeed. And I think others could like benefit from the story, and I think it's important to be told.
Rich was full of life, you know. I think that was our common connection, is that we were life livers together and we were very adventurous.
I definitely feel so lucky for all the time that I did have with my dad, and I think that being raised by both my mom and my dad, they both are such life livers and very adventurous spirits.
So Richard and I, we actually set the distance, duration, and altitude records for the AM8 category all the way through AM15.
More what he gave me was just the idea that you can live an adventurous life and make a living doing it.
I feel like this is why it's good to talk about it, because a lot of the memories that I do have are very faint, and I don't have as many memories. So I love talking with my sister, the rest of my family about it.
The fact that their balloon got hit by lightning and they're headed into the Adriatic Sea, I have this sense that, okay, this is just gonna, we're gonna bounce here and we'll figure it out.
Denver Flight Watch, wanted to report my position. I'm 3-5 miles due north of the Brentford VOR.
The love, the power of prayer, of uniting together to bring Richard home, is what has allowed us to walk through the pain. I think it's a miracle what this community has done for me and the kids.
I think definitely dealing with such a tragedy, the most important thing that got me through it was the community that I had. And honestly, even just the greater community of Albuquerque too, it felt like people were really surrounding us and there for us.
I guess one of the things that's really hard is that we had actually talked about working together one more time. We were planning to make a flight the next year to attempt the around the world together. However, in 1999, the Breitling orbiter went around the world, and I remember it just killed Richard. I remember going to breakfast with him the next morning after Breitling orbiter 3 landed, and we were discussing what next, because that goal had been taken from us basically.
I think Rich would be proud of that too. I think he looks down and through every aspect of the past 15 years, he's always been there in a time most needed, and in the most simplest ways, you feel him.
Looks like Sullivan over there to me.
Yeah, looks like Sullivan, and there's 2 more down the mountain.
It's heartwarming to hear its voice,
Well, things are working out pretty good. I think we maintain this altitude, we can get clear of the mountains. This ridge we're going to go is pretty good size.
Yeah, that's great.
At your 6 o'clock, fortunate.
Richard, embraced any young child interested in the magic of ballooning, whether it was hot air or gas ballooning. He made himself available to educate and answer questions and welcome them to touching the balloon, help inflate the balloon.
It started with humility, that hey, you can do this if you want to, and here's how you go about that, and always a respect for everyone.
And he just kind of slowly took me under the wing. He would let me crew for him on occasion. Not like a first grader was gonna do much good. at all. But he realized that I had a passion, and he was so kind in letting me feel like part of the team.
How can you have a greater tribute to anybody with what you've just said, that you've impacted people's lives positively by being an example, and that was Richard.
Yeah, the inspiration of someone who inspires. I would like to invite, oh damn, now I forget, Mary Pat and Rico Abruzzo to receive the award.
Hello everybody and happy Fiesta. Thank you all for coming. I'm Mary Pat. Thank you. If you don't know me, I'm Mary Pat. I'm Richard's daughter, and this is my little brother Rico. You're not so little anymore. Many of you know my dad is a legendary balloon pilot, but we got to see a very different side of him. To us, he was our super dad and a big goofball, and I just remember him taking us on so many different adventures. From taking me skiing with him literally before I knew how to walk, to me and Rico being at the ice skating rink, and we were the only two wearing really big ski helmets, and at the time I thought this was so embarrassing, but he just wanted to keep us safe. But I think the common theme of all of this is that he tried to push us to try new things, and that's definitely something I take with me today. My dad's passion and focus for ballooning could really be applied to a lot of different parts of his life. He wasn't just an incredible balloonist, he was also an incredible dad. And I cherish all the memories that I have with him and with my family. And I really just love hearing all the stories that people tell me about him. I'm gonna pass it off.
Hello. Thank you guys all for being here. Ballooning and Fiesta is such a big part of our lives, and I'm so excited that we get to celebrate this moment together. It's pretty sweet to be able to see his passion and hard work be recognized. When I was little, I don't think I understood the magnitude of what he was doing. But as I've grown up, I feel like through the stories and the people that I've met, I've gained a better appreciation for it. When I see pictures or hear those stories of him water skiing, snow skiing, or even the clips we watched of him in his gas balloon, my perspective completely changed. So a little story about me and my dad. When I was little, I was at school. I was playing on the play set. I jumped off, hurt my foot, and I came back home to my mom and my dad. I told them, it's like, my foot's might be broken. They both were like, no, you're fine, brush it off. So that weekend we went skiing. My dad jammed my foot into my way too tight ski racing boot. We did our full day. We ended the day, I took my foot out and it was black and blue and about double the size. I think at that point he realized it was actually broken. So I like this story because I think it highlights my dad's mentality, just keep pushing the willpower that he had. And yeah, thank you guys all so much for coming to honor my dad and my mom tonight. I don't think this accomplishment wouldn't be possible without the community and the support team that he had. So thank you guys all very much.
Thank you, Mary Pat and Rico, for making your dad that normal man that I meet in those meetings. I would like to invite Dr. Shel Sanchez, the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Albuquerque, to say a few words and to give a toast.
I don't feel like I can toast yet, because I mean, it's no fun when you're toasting alone. Hold on, we're just gonna have to take a couple moments. I mean, it's not the same if people aren't actually in it with you. Okay, that's starting to look a little better. All right, while we make sure everyone is ready to play along, I'm just going to say this is I get to do a lot of ceremonial things every year, and this is probably the shortest and my most favorite honor that I get to participate in, because I grew up in Albuquerque, so I grew up with ballooning, Balloon Fiesta. And so this year, every year is special. This year, extra special because, of course, because I grew up here, just like the mayor, I did not have a bear. But the Abruzzo and Anderson names were always part of, my psyche and my world. So this year's extra sweet to be able to join you in this toast. So let's see how we're doing. If you are ready to toast, just practice. Don't drink. This is just practice. All right. Feels like we're almost there. I feel like is there a little group in the middle? Do you guys all have drinks over here? Okay. All right. Okay, they're trying. Okay, one thing I want to say, because there's so many balloonists and you're so good at champagne, is we have 4 toasts, so just pace yourself as I go through this, all right? So look at the glass and don't get carried away. Okay, let's try again. Let's just, one more time. If you're ready to toast, just practice here. Oh man, I wish I had my camera. That was a great photo. Okay. All right, here we go. So first, let's raise our glasses to the many decades of leadership and ballooning accomplishments of Hans Åkerstedt as competitor, award winner, advocate, delegate, and historian. We honor his sustained leadership and notable international service to the sport and the spirit of ballooning. To Hans. I feel like because this is Albuquerque, aka today Abruzzo land, we should all stand for this next one. So please. I invite you to raise your glasses to the inspiring, passionate, enduring, and record-breaking achievements of Richard Abruzzo. we celebrate him today with one more prestigious award added to a long list of honors. Today we celebrate his legacy as adventurer and trailblazer for the sport internationally, and a forever beloved local icon of ballooning in New Mexico. To Richard. And to all of our previous inductees and the inspirational legacies they have built for ballooning and that we share here at the Ballooning Museum, and to future inductees who will be flying in our skies this week, to balloonists. And finally, to calm air and cool mornings, balloon-filled skies and evening glows, here's to magic and beauty in our Albuquerque skies, to Fiesta.
Yes, Fiesta.
And then I'm going to exercise a point of local privilege. Usually we don't do this, but again, it's Abruzzo land right now. So I'm going to invite Nancy up to make a toast as well.
Thank you, Shell. You know we like to break the rules. At least I do. They're not really rules.
No. Thank you all so much for being here today. I would be remiss if I didn't start this by sharing a little something. Last night I had a dream of my younger brother Paul and Mary Pat, Richard's younger sister. And it woke me thinking they're celebrating up there too. So with that, let's raise a toast to all of you for being here, for all the love that surrounds us. Thank you. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Well, yeah. Thank you all for joining us today. Please take your time to read up on our inductees, see our Hall of Fame display inside the museum, and I really hope to see all of you next year again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.